is that no matter what your discipline is, you kind of get to see the bigger picture doing that. So as an accounting major, I haven't had a ton of strategy or marketing coursework, but through case competitions, I've been able to see different sides of that and learn from my teammates as well.
And so just another quick question adding on top of that. So I think in March there's a Deloitte case competition. Am I correct? Yeah. So like, let's say I participate in that, things go out really well, and assuming I'm like a sophomore, junior at that point, and I talk to a Deloitte representative and say, hey, I participate in your case competition at Purdue, would that have any, or does it really not matter what the name of the case competition is, rather than you participate and you got something out of it?
So specifically in that situation, they're going to really like that you did their case competition, because that shows you're interested in their company. Okay. But at the end of the day, don't feel like if you're going up to PwC, you can't talk about the Deloitte case competition, because it's outside Deloitte, it's another case competition that's equal with any of the other similar ones. Okay. But it just helps with, just make sure you bring up the point that it's, oh, I did the Deloitte one when you're talking to Deloitte.
Gotcha. You did the case competition and talk about the skills that you learned.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whose case competition it was. Right. They want to hear that you have skills.
It's just, yeah, and going off that, and you're completely right. If Deloitte's your #1 company, be doing everything Deloitte does on campus. If you're interested in Cummins, do the Cummins case competition, like that sort of thing.
So going off the case competitions, is that something you actually like included in your resume, or is that something that you kind of mentioned to the recruiter, or maybe something later on? Or?
So I would say, I'm sorry, I'm kind of monopolizing this.
I mean, when it comes to case competitions,
go for it. Sorry about that. So as a freshman, definitely include it on your resume, maybe at the bottom in accomplishments or other involvements, because unless you have a ton of great stuff on your resume as a freshman, I personally didn't, and that was something that was a good talking point. You'll definitely want it on your resume. I still keep a small, like, one line and a bullet point of a larger case competition on my resume, even though I have other experience. So definitely those like case competitions, even if you don't win them, like get first place, you can still put them on, because that's still learning. No one really cares if you win it unless it's like a huge global, like you went to Germany kind of case competition. Like, no, it doesn't matter if you got first or fourth in the on-campus Deloitte case competition, because you still had that learning and that exposure.
I have a question more about like before the career fair. So what would your guys' recommendations for researching companies be? Like what information should we try to gather? What should we do to like know about the company before we go into the career fair?
I mean, I personally, before career fair, would you obviously make your list of companies that you prioritize, and then you kind of work your way down that. So mainly what I would look up is like their general company information, just like a Wikipedia page. And then if you know what position you want to apply for, you can always do research on Glassdoor. They have a lot of like information about like entry-level positions with like reviews by employees, so you can get a better understanding of what it's like to work there. But really just having like a basic understanding of what the company does, like what products they manufacture. Like I know personally, I've had some like horror stories where I went and talked to a company and they did not do what I thought they did. So it's always good to make sure, like even things that you would consider like, oh, I'm pretty sure this company does this. If you're wrong, it's really embarrassing. So I don't think you need to know personally much more besides like basic information, because most of your opportunity for interview comes from the relationship that you develop with that recruiter at the career fair.
Quick Google before you approach their table would be really helpful.
You can even Google in the career fair.
Yeah.
It's better to know what you're doing than to go up to them and be wrong.
Just don't do it right next to their table, because then that looks so weird.
During your like 5-10 minute break, like Emily mentioned earlier.
Yeah. You know, if you do want to take it the extra mile, it is helpful to kind of search the news specifically instead of just Google in general. Because like when I interviewed at Ford, we talked about autonomous vehicles, which was something that was really big and what they were doing. Like if there's a merger, like Zimmer Biomet merged a few years ago, to just like be in the know about those things that are happening in the company, because that's going to be in the forefront of their mind every day.
And if you want to take it a next step further, apply for an internship or position online that catches your interest. That way when you do talk about it one-on-one with the recruiter, they can't just say, oh, go apply online and pass you off. You can say, oh, no, wait, I already applied for your purchasing internship. Can you tell me more about the timeline for that? What should I expect from this position? When should I hear from hear back, I guess. Just kind of go off of that at least.
If you have the opportunity or the reason to as well, I've had good experiences reaching out to the recruiters before the career fair. If you know who's coming, talking to older students and be like, oh, you've worked for here, who was the recruiter? I've been able to have, like, one time the company emailed me and I was like, oh, I've never heard of you before, and I sent on my resume, and then by the time I got to the career fair, they're already looking out for me, knew a little bit about me. So that was a good way to kind of start the conversation and skip that initial, hi, I'm Emily, I'm a sophomore studying accounting step, and move on to some of the more opportunities that they were looking for.
I have a question about interviews. So have you ever noticed that an interview is going really badly, and how did you handle that?
It's rarely going as badly as you think it's going. Like, is a good tip. So, like, you know, you may answer a question where you like start going and then you have no idea where you end up at. And so, you know, the recruiter wants to help you during the interview, right? They want to like you while you're there. So, I mean, there's obviously times where you know it's going bad, and if it is going bad, you just have to embrace it, right? You can't really, you have to just keep trying your best to correct it and answer questions that way that you can. So, like I said, it's not going as bad as you think it's going, so just try and maintain your composure, because the first internship that I had, I thought it was the worst interview that I did overall, and it was the only company that called me back for second round interviews, so, right.
Yeah, and I think going off of that is, it's like, I feel like people think you can't like correct an answer or something like that, but you definitely can, because if the person across from you is also a human being, so if you get, let's say you answer the second question, like, you're pretty sure it wasn't a great answer, you can even at the end say, oh, I just wanted to clarify my answer on blah, blah, blah. I wanted to make sure you knew that I was really passionate about this or whatever. If you fix it well, just make sure you're prepared to do that. But kind of echoing it, a lot of times if you think you just bombed something, it's probably not that bad. And you kind of just can roll with the rest of the interview. But if you really think there's a good way to improve the interview at the end, don't be afraid to kind of preface, or not preface, but fix something that you said in a very professional way.
For those of you who have had an internship after your freshman year, what was it like, and what kind of work did you do?
So I can take that one, I guess. So I had an interview after my freshman year with AM General in South Bend, Indiana. It was with their Mercedes-Benz partnership that they had. It was a very interesting time because it was a plant relaunch and relocation. So my internship mainly focused a little bit on Excel, PowerPoint is in just kind of refocusing a lot of their current processes that they had for some of their older equipment to adapt to Daimler. Daimler's a parent company of Mercedes, to adapt to Daimler's current procedures. So it was just a lot of being able to adapt to the situation because every day was a little bit different. So I'd say the main skills for like an internship after your freshman year would just be to have a basic level of Excel and be willing to do a lot of extra research on your own outside of the internship. VLOOKUPs, for example, that was something that was a big deal for my summer. So just being aware of like little things like that, and always having clear communication with your boss is key to having a successful internship in that regard, because they want to help you. They chose you to be there at their company so you can make a difference. So as long as you can go forward and you can take that initiative to keep on trying, they'll notice that, and that'll help you maintain like relationships with that company for the rest of your college career. As far as getting that internship, for me personally, that was a lot of outreach on my own through LinkedIn, which I can speak to you about that after this if you'd like. But it just depends on like what area you want to work in specifically to help you hone in on where is your target at and how do you want to get there. Does that answer your question?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'd say the summer after my freshman year, I interned at a company back home. It was just a small marketing firm for a college back there. So even though I'm in SMEF and I had looked at the fair, I actually didn't get an internship through it. So if that happens, that's fine because you have resources like LinkedIn that you can use and connections. That's going to be just so important, just networking and stuff, and the fair can be a springboard for that. As far as the work that I did at that internship, was a marketing internship, so I got to be exposed to a lot of different things, and I think it was awesome that I was at a smaller company because you got invested in a little bit more than I think I would have if I would have had a corporate internship right after my freshman year.
Yeah, I did what I would call like a quasi-internship after my freshman year. Like, I can't call it a real internship. I completely through personal connections. I didn't really try too hard at the career fair my freshman year, and an opportunity opened up at a community bank in my hometown. I was like, oh, why not try it out? So I was like 50% teller and 50% with the bookkeeping office. So it was a really good opportunity, one, just to get into the swing of working a full week, seeing what it's like to be in an office, seeing just kind of that, and I think it made going into my next internship after my sophomore year, which was more of a real internship, a little less intimidating. And then also, it's great to do all the opportunities you can as well, because I found out that I really didn't want to be in banking or finance. So it's always good to rule those things out as well. So.
Yeah, and to move off of a quasi-internship, I didn't have one. I studied abroad, which I couldn't recommend that more. If you don't get an internship and you want to look at going abroad, it's an awesome opportunity, a ton of fun. You get anywhere from like 6 to 9 credits. Classes aren't that hard either. And that still looks great on your resume. I'm pretty sure I only got my first round interview with Cummins my sophomore year because the recruiter is really excited that I had like international experience and and Cummins, a large global company, that sort of thing. So you can really don't feel like you have to have, try for an internship definitely, but if you don't get one, don't think, oh, it's the end of the world, I'll never get a good job. Find those other opportunities. Do study abroad. I actually took Calc 2 over the summer, or like maybe do like Excel certification, which is, if you just do a quick Google, very easy to do, and then like looks great to recruiters for the next year. So you can definitely fill your time, whether it be an internship, working at a local company, or study abroad, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I didn't study abroad or have a job after my freshman year. I just worked at a furniture store in my.
Where he is now.
Yeah,
Such a failure.
I'm just saying that your freshman